The crystal chandeliers of the Plaza Hotel ballroom threw diamonds of light across 500 of New York's most powerful faces. Black tie. Old money. New power. The kind of event where a handshake could move markets and a whispered conversation could end careers. Maya Rodriguez moved through the crowd with a tray of champagne flutes, invisible in her black server's uniform. She'd worked enough of these events to know the rhythm. Smile without being seen, refill without interrupting, exist without mattering. The agency paid $12 an hour plus tips that rarely came. But rent was due in 4 days, and her student loans didn't care that Columbia had waitlisted her nursing program for the 3rd semester in a row. She balanced the tray with practiced ease, her dark hair pulled back, so tight it made her temples ache, the required pearl earrings digging into her lobes. Around her, men in $15,000 suits discussed mergers like chess moves. Women dripped in diamonds that cost more than Maya would earn in 5 years. None of them looked at her face. That was fine. She'd learned to be a ghost. "Excuse me, miss." A hand lifted a glass from her tray without waiting for her to offer. Maya didn't flinch. She just smiled the professional smile and moved on. The ballroom was massive, all marble and gold leaf and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. On the stage at the far end, a podium waited for tonight's keynote speaker, some tech billionaire launching a charitable foundation that would probably fund itself with offshore accounts and creative accounting. Maya had stopped being surprised by how the world actually worked. She wove between clusters of conversation, catching fragments. "The merger goes through. We're looking at 40% market share." Told him if he wanted the votes, he'd need to play cleaner then. Castellano's making a move on the waterfront contracts. Someone should. That last one made her pause, just for a heartbeat. Castellano. She'd heard that name before. Not in school, not at work. On the news. In whispers. The kind of name that came with lawyers who made problems disappear and business deals that didn't ask questions. Maya kept moving. Not her world. Not her problem. The north corner of the ballroom had been sectioned off with velvet ropes and 2 men in suits that didn't quite hide the shoulder holsters underneath. Private party within the party. Maya had been briefed. That section was invitation only, and servers were told to knock before entering, wait to be acknowledged, and leave the moment the tray was empty. She'd done 3 rounds already. Each time, she'd glimpsed the man at the center of the private section. Tall, dark hair going silver at the temples, a face that would have been handsome if it wasn't so cold. He sat at the head of a table with 5 other men, documents spread between them, a deal being made in real time while the charity gala happened around them like window dressing. Dante Castellano. Maya knew the name now. She'd asked another server during her break, trying to sound casual. The response had been quick and quiet. "Don't stare. Don't linger. Do your job and get out." Good advice. She was halfway to the kitchen with her empty tray when she heard it. A crash. Glass shattering. Then a sound that made her nursing instincts kick in before her brain caught up. A body hitting marble. Maya spun. 20 feet away, just outside the velvet ropes of Castellano's private section, a teenage boy lay crumpled on the floor. 15, maybe 16. Expensive suit, dark hair, his face pale and slick with sweat. His eyes were half open but unfocused, his chest rising in short, shallow gasps. People were staring. Nobody was moving. Maya dropped the tray. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. She was on her knees beside him in seconds, her hand going to his wrist. Pulse rapid, thready. Skin clammy. His pupils were dilated unevenly, one blown wide, the other contracted. That wasn't good. That was very bad. "Call 911, Maya said sharply, looking up at the crowd of frozen faces. "Now." Nobody moved. They just stared like this was part of the entertainment. "Someone call." "What happened?" The voice cut through the ballroom like a blade. Deep, controlled, dangerous. Not loud. It didn't need to be. Maya looked up. Dante Castellano stood at the edge of the velvet ropes, his eyes locked on the boy. He wasn't running. He wasn't panicking, but something in his face had gone from stone to something darker. Something that made the air feel thinner. He collapsed, Maya said, forcing her voice to stay steady. His pulse is elevated, breathing shallow. Pupils are unequal. He needs a hospital. Right now. Dante's gaze shifted to her. For the first time all night, someone actually saw her. Not the uniform. Not the role. Her. His eyes were dark gray, almost black in the chandelier light. There was no warmth in them. No fear either. Just calculation. How long? He asked. 30 seconds. Maybe less. I was across the room when he… Not what I asked. His voice stayed level. How long has he been like this? The pupils. The breathing. Maya blinked. Most people didn't know to ask that. Most people didn't think that fast. Could be minutes, could be an hour, she said. I don't know his baseline. But if this is neurological, we don't have time to. Marco. Dante didn't raise his voice, but one of the men from his table appeared instantly at his side.
Car. Now.
North entrance. Boss, the deal. Dante's look silenced him. Marco disappeared. Maya checked the boy's airway, tilting his head back slightly. His breathing evened out a fraction, but his color was still wrong. Too pale. Lips going faintly blue at the edges. Does he have a medical condition? She asked, looking up at Dante. Epilepsy, diabetes. Anything I should know about? Dante crouched beside her. Up close, she could see the fine lines at the corners of his eyes, the scar that cut through his left eyebrow, the way his jaw was set like he was holding back something violent. Congenital heart defect, he said quietly. Had surgery at 12.
Clean since then.
No episodes. Maya's stomach dropped. Does he have medication? Anything he's supposed to take if. He doesn't need episodes to have medication. Dante's hand moved to the boy's jacket, pulling out a small silver case. He opened it. Inside, a pre-filled syringe and a small vial. Emergency epinephrine. Cardiologist said only if he goes into full arrest. He's not in arrest. Maya checked his pulse again. Still fast, but steady. But his heart's working too hard. We need to get him somewhere with an EKG and 4 real equipment. No hospitals. Maya's head snapped up. What? Dante's expression didn't change. No hospitals. No ambulances. No police reports. She stared at him. He could be having a cardiac event. If we don't. I have a private physician. He'll meet us at my residence. It's 8 minutes from here. That's not. It's not a negotiation. Dante's eyes held hers. Not threatening. Stating fact. You can come with us and make sure he stays stable, or you can walk away and hope someone else knows what they're doing. Maya's jaw tightened. She looked down at the boy. His breathing had evened out slightly, but his color still wasn't right. If she walked away and something happened, if he arrested in a car without anyone who knew CPR, without equipment, without… Fine, she said. But if he crashes, we're going to the nearest ER, and I don't care what you say. Something flickered in Dante's expression. Not quite a smile. Something harder to define. Fair enough. He stood, lifting the boy with an ease that surprised her. The kid wasn't small, maybe 5'10", 160 pounds, but Dante carried him like he weighed nothing. Protective, careful, the way someone holds something they can't afford to break. Maya grabbed the silver medical case and stood. Around them, the ballroom had gone silent. 500 people watching. None of them are moving to help. None of them reach for phones. Because they knew. They all knew who Dante Castellano was. And they knew that whatever happened in his world stayed in his world. Mississippi. Maya turned. One of the event coordinators stood there, his face tight with professional panic. You can't just leave. You're scheduled until 11, and if you walk out, the agency will bill me, Dante said without looking back. The coordinator's mouth snapped shut. Maya followed Dante through the crowd. People parted like water. No one spoke. No one interfered. A path opened straight to the north exit where a black SUV idled at the curb, rear door already open. Dante slid into the back seat with the boy cradled against him. Maya climbed in after, pulling the door shut. The driver didn't ask questions. He just drove. The boy, she still didn't know his name, stirred slightly, a low groan escaping his throat. "Hey," Maya said softly, leaning closer. "Can you hear me? Can you tell me your name?" His eyelids fluttered.
Dad.
"I'm here." Dante's voice was quieter now.
Different.
Still controlled, but the edge had softened. His hand rested on the boy's shoulder, steady and sure. "I'm right here, Luca."
Luca.
The boy's name was Luca. Maya checked his pulse again. Stronger now. That was good. His color was coming back, the blue fading from his lips. "Luca," she said gently. "I'm Maya. You collapsed at the plaza. We're taking you somewhere safe. I need you to stay awake for me, okay?"
Can you do that?
Luca's eyes opened a fraction. Hazel, like his father's. Confused, scared, trying to focus. "What happened?" His voice was rough, barely there. "That's what we're going to figure out," Maya said. She glanced at Dante. When was the last time he ate? Lunch. Around 1. She checked her watch. It was almost 9. Any alcohol? Drugs? Anything he might not have told you about? Dante's jaw flexed. He's 15. That's not an answer. A long pause. Then no. He doesn't touch that shit. The venom in those last 2 words told Maya everything she needed to know about what Dante Castellano thought of substances. The SUV took a corner fast. Maya braced herself, keeping her hand on Luca's wrist to monitor his pulse. Still elevated, but stabilizing. "How far?" she asked. 3 minutes, the driver said. First words he'd spoken. Dante's penthouse was in Tribeca. Of course it was. The building had a private entrance, private elevator, and security that made the TSA look casual. They swept into an underground garage where a man in a white coat waited beside a rolling gurney. "Dr. Salazar," Dante said as they transferred Luca onto the gurney. 15-year-old male, collapse with altered consciousness, tachycardia, and unequal pupils. History of congenital heart defect, post-surgical, no recent episodes. The doctor's eyes widened slightly. How long ago? 10 minutes. Maybe 12. Dr. Salazar immediately began his assessment, checking vitals, pupil response, listening to Luca's heart with his stethoscope. Maya stood back, watching, her role suddenly unclear. "You." Dr. Salazar looked at her. "You medical?" "Nursing student. 2nd year." He nodded. Good instincts. Probably saved him from secondary injury when he went down. He turned to Dante. "I need to get him upstairs. Full cardiac workup, blood work, neurological assessment. If it's what I think it is, then fix it," Dante said simply. They moved fast. Elevator to the top floor. Penthouse that looked more like a private hospital wing than a home. Medical equipment Maya had only seen in teaching hospitals. Monitors for stands, crash cart in the corner. Dr. Salazar worked quickly, hooking Luca up to an EKG, starting in 4, drawing blood. Maya found herself assisting without being asked, labeling vials, adjusting monitor leads, keeping Luca calm while the doctor worked. "You're doing great," she murmured to Luca. "Just breathe. We've got you." His eyes found hers. "Thank you," he whispered. Something in her chest tightened.
He was just a kid.
Scared, vulnerable, trying to be brave. 20 minutes later, Dr. Salazar stepped back from the monitors, his expression grim. "It's SVT," he said. Supraventricular tachycardia. His heart's been racing for at least an hour, maybe more. Combined with the heat in that ballroom, dehydration, stress, his body couldn't compensate. He didn't arrest, but he was close. Dante's face didn't change, but his hands curled into fists at his sides. Treatment. Medication to control the rhythm. For fluids.
Rest.
And he needs to see his cardiologist first thing Monday. This could mean the defect wasn't fully corrected, or there's a new issue developing. Maya watched Dante process that. Watched the way his eyes never left his son. The way he moved closer to the bed, his hand finding Luca's shoulder again. "He'll be okay?" Dante asked. Quieter now. Almost hesitant. Dr. Salazar nodded. "He'll be fine." But Maya's right. If you'd waited much longer, or if he'd been alone. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. Dante's gaze shifted to Maya.
Held there.
She felt the weight of it. The assessment. The calculation. "Thank you," he said finally. 2 words. But the way he said them, like they cost him something. Maya swallowed. "I was just doing what anyone would."
No.
Dante stepped closer. Not threatening, but deliberate. Most people in that room would have called for help and stepped back.
You didn't.
You stayed.
You knew what to ask.
You kept him stable.
She didn't know what to say to that.
"Dr. Salazar will monitor him tonight," Dante continued. "But I'd like you to stay. In case anything changes. In case he needs someone who—" He paused, searching for words. "Someone who sees him as a person first. Not a liability." Maya blinked. "I'm not a nurse yet. I'm not even. You're more qualified than anyone else I trust." Dante's voice was firm. Final. "Name your price." Her stomach flipped. "I don't want your money. Everyone wants money. Not for this." Silence. Dante studied her like she was a puzzle he couldn't solve. "Then what do you want?" he asked. Maya looked at Luca. At the kid who'd collapsed in a room full of people who'd done nothing. At the father who'd left a $200 million deal without a second thought because his son needed him. "I want to make sure he's okay," she said simply. "That's it." Dante's expression shifted. Something softened just at the edges. Something almost like respect. "All right," he said quietly. "Stay." And just like that, Maya Rodriguez's life stopped being her own. Maya woke to the smell of coffee and the low murmur of voices. For a disoriented moment, she didn't know where she was. The room was too big, the sheets too soft, the ceiling too high. Then it came back, Luca collapsing, the drive to Tribeca, Dante's penthouse that looked like a medical wing had been grafted onto a luxury hotel. She'd fallen asleep in a chair beside Luca's bed around 3 a.m, after his vitals had stabilized and Dr. Salazar had finally gone home. Someone, she assumed Dante, had moved her to a guest room at some point. She was still in her server's uniform, minus the shoes, with a blanket draped over her that smelled faintly of expensive detergent and something else.
Cologne, maybe.
Cedar and smoke. Maya sat up, running her hands through her hair. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Hudson River. The clock on the nightstand read 9:47 a.m. She'd slept through her alarm, through her shift at the coffee shop, through her phone. Where was her phone? She found it on the dresser, plugged in and charging. 19 missed calls, 12 texts, most from the catering agency, increasingly angry. 3 from her roommate asking where the hell she was. 1 from her student loan servicer reminding her that payment was due in 3 days. Maya closed her eyes and breathed. A soft knock at the door made her look up. "Come in," she said, expecting Dr. Salazar or maybe one of Dante's security people. Instead, Luca pushed the door open. He looked better, color back in his face, wearing sweatpants and a Columbia hoodie that was too big for him. And 4 port was still taped to his inner elbow, covered with a clear bandage. "Hey," he said, leaning against the doorframe. "You're awake." Maya stood quickly. "You should be in bed." Dr. Salazar cleared me to walk around. Said I needed to move a little or my legs would cramp. Luca's smile was tentative, a little shy. "I wanted to say thank you for last night. My dad told me what you did." She crossed her arms, suddenly aware of how rumpled she must look. "I'm glad you're okay. How are you feeling?" "Tired. Kinda shaky. But better than I was." He stepped into the room, hands in his pockets. "Dr. Salazar said if you hadn't been there, I might have hit my head when I went down. Or worse." "You don't need to thank me for that." "Yeah, I do." Luca's eyes were serious. Older than 15. "People don't usually help. Not with my dad. Not with who we are." Maya studied him. There was something fragile beneath the bravado. Something lonely. "Well," she said softly, "I'm not most people." Luca's smile widened a fraction. "My dad said the same thing." Before Maya could respond, another voice cut through from the hallway. "Luca, back to your room." Dante appeared in the doorway, dressed in dark slacks and a white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows. He looked like he hadn't slept. The shadows under his eyes were darker, his jaw tight. "I'm fine, Dad," Lucas said, but there was no heat in it. Just resignation. "I was just saying thanks." "You can say thanks from your room. You're supposed to be resting." Lucas sighed but obeyed, squeezing past his father with a murmured sorry. Dante watched him go, his expression unreadable, then turned back to Maya. "Breakfast is ready," he said. "If you're hungry." It wasn't quite a question, but it wasn't quite in order either. Maya nodded. "Let me just..." She gestured vaguely at her wrinkled uniform. "There's clothes in the closet. Left side. Should fit." She blinked. "You keep women's clothes in your guest room?" "I have a housekeeper. She keeps things on hand for emergencies." Dante's tone was matter-of-fact. "Showers through there. Take your time." He left before she could respond. Maya stood there for a moment, processing. Then she opened the closet. Inside, she found neatly folded jeans, soft cotton shirts, a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than her monthly rent. Everything in her size. Either the housekeeper was psychic, or Dante had very good judgment. She showered quickly, trying not to think too hard about the fact that she was standing in a bathroom bigger than her entire apartment, using products that smelled like bergamot and honey. When she emerged, she felt more human. The jeans fit perfectly. The sweater was butter-soft against her skin. She found Dante in the kitchen, a sprawling space of white marble and stainless steel, sunlight pouring through the windows. He stood at the counter with a cup of coffee, reading something on his phone. He looked up when she entered. "Better?" he asked.
Much.
"Thank you." He gestured to the breakfast spread on the island. Fresh fruit, pastries, eggs, toast. More food than 3 people could eat. "Help yourself." Maya filled a plate, suddenly ravenous. She hadn't eaten since her break at the plaza, which felt like a lifetime ago. Dante watched her in silence, sipping his coffee. "You don't have to stay," he said finally. "If you need to get back to your life, I can have Marco drive you." Maya paused, a strawberry halfway to her mouth. "Do you want me to leave?" "I want you to have a choice." She set the strawberry down. "And if I choose to stay?" Dante's eyes met hers. "Then we need to talk." They talked in his office, a room lined with bookshelves and dark wood, a desk that looked like it had been carved from a single piece of mahogany. Through the windows, the city sprawled out beneath them, small and distant. Dante sat across from her, hands steepled, his expression unreadable. "Luca's condition isn't new," he began. "He was born with a heart defect. Tetralogy of Fallot. Had his first surgery at 6 months, second at 12. The doctors said he was stable, that he'd live a normal life. But last night suggests otherwise," Maya said quietly. "Last night suggests his cardiologist missed something." Dante's voice was controlled, but there was steel underneath. "Or lied to me. Either way, it's a problem." Maya leaned forward. "What does his medical team say? Have they run updated scans, blood work?"
They'll do that Monday.
"But here's the issue." Dante's gaze sharpened. "Luca's medical history is complicated. Because of who I am, what I do, there are people who would use his condition against me." "Against him?" "You mean rivals?" "I mean anyone who wants leverage." Dante's jaw tightened. "Last night at the plaza, there were 50 people who saw him collapse. 50 people who now know my son has a weakness. That makes him a target." Maya's stomach turned. "You think someone would hurt a 15-year-old because of..." "I don't think." "I know." Dante's voice was flat. 3 months ago, a business associate of mine had his daughter kidnapped. She was 17. They held her for a week, sent him photos every day. He paid the ransom. They killed her anyway and left her body where he'd find it. The room went cold. "The people I deal with don't have limits," Dante continued. "They don't care about innocence or age or fairness. They see an opening, they take it. And now, because Luca collapsed in public, because people saw him vulnerable." He exhaled slowly. "He's an opening." Maya swallowed. "So, what are you going to do?" "Tighten security. Limit his exposure. Keep him close. Dante's eyes never left hers. And I need someone who can monitor him. Someone who knows what to look for if it happens again. Someone I can trust. You don't know me, Maya said. You don't know if you can trust me. You had a dozen chances to walk away last night. You didn't. You put yourself between my son and harm without asking what you'd get for it. Dante leaned forward. That tells me everything I need to know. Maya's heart was pounding. What exactly are you asking? I'm asking you to stay. Live here. Be available if Luca needs medical attention. In exchange, I'll pay you what you'd make in a year of nursing. Plus, I'll cover your tuition. All of it. Loans, housing, everything. The offer hit her like a physical blow. She couldn't find the words. That's insane. It's fair compensation for what I'm asking. You're asking me to give up my life. My apartment, my job, your $12 an hour catering gigs and your overpriced coffee shop shifts? Dante's tone wasn't cruel, just factual. I looked into you, Maya. You work 60 hours a week and you're still drowning in debt. Your one missed payment from eviction. Your nursing program waitlisted you because you can't afford the fees to reapply. Maya's face flushed. You had no right. I had every right. My son's life is in your hands. You think I wouldn't do my homework? She stood abruptly, anger flaring. So, what? You just buy me? Like I'm another asset? Dante stood too, rounding the desk. He stopped 3 feet from her, close enough that she had to tilt her head to meet his eyes. I'm not buying you, he said quietly. I'm giving you an out. A way to finish school without killing yourself. A way to actually become the nurse you're trying to be instead of working yourself into the ground for scraps. And what do you get? Peace of mind, he said simply. Knowing that if my son collapses again, someone who gives a damn will be there to catch him. Maya stared at him, at the sharp lines of his face, the scar through his eyebrow, the exhaustion he was trying to hide. This wasn't a transaction to him. This was desperation, dressed up as a business deal. What if I say no? She asked. Then I'll have Marco drive you home, and you'll never hear from me again. No pressure. No threats. You walk away clean. She believed him. That was the strangest part. She actually believed him. I need to think about it, Maya said. Take all the time you need. Dante reached into his pocket and pulled out a card. Heavy paper, embossed lettering. Just a phone number, no name. Call me when you decide. Maya took the card. Their fingers brushed, just for a second. She felt the calluses on his palm, the warmth of his skin. One more thing, Dante added. The people who saw Luca collapse last night, some of them will try to use it. They'll come at you, ask questions, offer money for information. I won't talk. I know, but they'll try anyway. And when they do, his expression hardened. Tell me, don't try to handle it yourself. Don't think you can negotiate or reason with them. You tell me and I'll make it stop. Maya's throat felt tight.
How?
You don't need to know how. You just need to trust that I will. She spent the rest of the morning with Luca. He showed her his room, a teenager's space despite the luxury. Posters of bands she didn't recognize, a gaming setup that probably cost more than her car, textbooks stacked on the desk. He was smart, she realized. Not just book smart, but thoughtful. He asked her about nursing school, about why she wanted to help people, about what it was like growing up without the kind of money his father had. It's not as bad as you'd think, Maya said, sitting cross-legged on his bed while he showed her his vinyl collection. You learn to appreciate things more when you have to work for them. Luca looked skeptical. That sounds like something adults say to make being broke sound noble. Maya laughed. Maybe. But it's also true. You ever build something yourself? Like really build it from nothing? I mean, I built a gaming PC once. With parts you bought? Well, yeah. With money you earned? Luca hesitated. My dad gave me the money. Exactly. Maya smiled gently. That's not the same as saving for months, hunting for deals, sacrificing other things to make it happen. There's a satisfaction in that. A pride. Luca was quiet for a moment. You think I'm spoiled. I think you're lucky. There's a difference. Maya reached over and squeezed his shoulder. But luck doesn't mean you can't understand struggle. It just means you have to try harder to see it. Something shifted in Luca's expression. Respect, maybe. Or understanding. I'm glad you're here, he said quietly. Not just because of the medical stuff. I think you're good for my dad. Maya's eyebrows rose. What makes you say that? Because he actually talks when you're around. Like real talking. Not just business stuff. Luca picked at the edge of his blanket. He doesn't do that with people. He doesn't trust people. He doesn't seem to trust easily. He can't afford to. Luca's voice dropped. People always want something from him. Money, power, connections. Nobody ever just sees him.
Maya thought about that.
About the way Dante had carried Luca from the plaza. The fear hidden behind the control. The desperation in his offer to pay for her school. What about you? She asked. Do you see him? Luca smiled sadly. I see what he lets me see. Which is more than most people get, I guess. Before Maya could respond, Dante appeared in the doorway. Dr. Salazar wants to check your vitals, he told Luca. Then, to Maya. Can I talk to you? She followed him back to the office. This time he didn't sit. He stood at the window, hands in his pockets, staring out at the city. There's been a development, he said without turning around. Maya's stomach tightened. What kind of development? 2 men came by your apartment this morning. Knocked on your door. Asked your neighbor if she knew where you were. Who were they? I don't know yet. But they weren't from your catering agency. Dante finally turned to face her. They were professionals. Clean, polite, but professionals. Which means someone's already trying to track you down. Because of last night. Because you were the last person with Luca before I got him out of there. Because you saw something. Because you might know something. Dante's jaw tightened. They'll keep digging. And when they can't find you, they'll escalate. You're trying to scare me into staying, Maya said. I'm trying to keep you alive. His voice was sharp now. You think this is a game? You think you can just go back to your apartment and pretend nothing happened? The moment you saw Luca collapse, the moment you helped him, you became part of this world. My world. And that means you're in danger whether you stay here or not. Maya's hands curled into fists. So, what? I'm just supposed to give up everything? My life, my freedom, Your life is what I'm trying to protect. Dante closed the distance between them in 3 strides. You want to go home?
Fine.
I'll have someone pack your things. I'll set you up in a new apartment across town with new locks and a security system. I'll make sure no one can trace you. But I can't guarantee they won't find you eventually. And when they do, his voice dropped. When they do, I won't be there to stop what happens next. Maya stared up at him, her heart hammering. Why do you care so much? Because you saved my son's life. Dante's eyes were dark, intense. And because in this world, the people who do that without asking for anything in return are the ones worth protecting. The silence between them felt electric. Heavy. Maya couldn't look away from him, couldn't breathe properly, couldn't think past the way he was looking at her, like she mattered. Like she was something precious and breakable and worth fighting for. Okay, she whispered. Dante blinked. Okay, I'll stay. Maya swallowed hard. Not because you scared me. Because Luca needs someone who sees him as more than a liability. And because maybe, she paused. Maybe you do too. Something in Dante's expression cracked. Just for a second. Just long enough for her to see the exhaustion underneath. The fear. The desperate hope that she meant what she was saying. Thank you, he said quietly. Maya nodded, not trusting her voice. I'll have Marco get your things, Dante continued, stepping back, rebuilding the walls. Make a list of anything you need. Clothes, books, whatever. Consider the guest room yours. And my apartment? I'll cover rent through the end of your lease. After that, we'll figure something out. Maya wanted to argue, wanted to insist she could handle it herself. But the truth was she couldn't. Not anymore. Not with strange men knocking on her door. Not with whatever was coming next. One rule, Dante said. She looked up. What? You don't leave this building without security. Not for school, not for errands, not for anything. Marco or one of my other men goes with you. Non-negotiable. That's ridiculous. I can take care of. That's the deal. His voice was iron. You stay safe or you don't stay at all. Maya wanted to fight it, but the look in his eyes stopped her. This wasn't about control. This was about control slipping, about a man who'd already lost too much and couldn't afford to lose anything else.
Fine, she said.
But I'm not a prisoner. If I need space, I get space. Fair enough. They stood there for a moment, an unspoken understanding settling between them. This wasn't just about Luca anymore. This was about something bigger. Something neither of them was ready to name. I should check on Luca, Maya said finally. Dante nodded. Dr. Salazar's with him now. But after, he paused. Maybe you could have lunch with us? Both of us. I think Luca would like that. It was such a simple request.
Such a normal thing.
But coming from Dante Castellano, it felt like so much more. I'd like that too, Maya said softly. And when she left the office, she swore she saw him smile. The next week passed in a strange rhythm. Maya settled into the guest room, which stopped feeling like a guest room and started feeling like hers. Marco retrieved her things from the apartment. Everything she owned fit into 4 boxes, which was depressing until she realized how much lighter she felt without the weight of that cramped space. She spent her days with Luca. They studied together, Maya helping him with biology while he helped her with pharmacology. They watched movies. They talked about music and books, and what it was like to grow up in 2 completely different New Yorks. Luca's cardiologist came on Monday. The news wasn't great. The SVT episode indicated a problem with the electrical pathways in his heart, likely a complication from the childhood surgeries. They'd need more tests. Possibly another procedure. Luca took it with a kind of resignation that broke Maya's heart. Like he'd been expecting bad news his whole life. Dante took it differently. He listened to the cardiologist with perfect composure, asked precise questions, thanked the man for his time. Then, after the doctor left, he disappeared into his office for 3 hours. When he emerged, his knuckles were bruised. Maya didn't ask. She just got the first aid kit. You don't have to do that, Dante said as she cleaned the splits in his skin. I know. Maya dabbed antiseptic on the worst of it. But I'm going to anyway. He watched her work in silence. Then, he's going to be okay. I know he is. Because I won't let him be anything else. Maya looked up and met his eyes. You can't control everything, Dante. Not even you. I can try. She finished bandaging his hand, her fingers lingering against his palm. There are better ways to handle fear than punching walls. Like what? Like talking about it. Dante's smile was bitter. I don't talk about fear. I eliminate it. And how's that working out for you? He didn't answer. Maya stood, closing the first aid kit. Luca's strong. Stronger than you think. And with the right treatment, he'll be fine. But you need to let him see that you believe that. Because right now, all he sees is you trying to fix something that might not be fixable. And that's terrifying for a kid. Dante was quiet for a long moment. Then, you're right. Maya blinked. I'm sorry, what? You're right. He stood, flexing his bandaged hand. I'm handling this wrong. I'm scaring him. You're trying to protect him. Same thing in his eyes. Dante exhaled slowly. How do I fix it? Maya thought about it. Be honest with him. Tell him you're scared too. Let him see that you're human. That's weakness. No, Maya said softly. That's trust. Something shifted in Dante's expression. Something vulnerable and raw. Will you help me? He asked. With what? With him. With this. He gestured vaguely, like he couldn't find the words for what he was asking. You're good at this. At people. At making them feel safe. I'm not. Maya's throat tightened. You're better than you think, but not good enough. Dante stepped closer. Stay, Maya. Not just for Luca. For me. The words hung in the air between them, heavy with meaning. Maya should have stepped back. Should have maintained distance. Should have remembered that this was temporary, that she was here for a job, that getting close to Dante Castellano was dangerous in more ways than one. Instead, she said, "Okay." And in that moment, everything changed. If you're hooked on this story, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support means everything and helps me bring you more emotional stories like this one. 2 days later, the first real threat arrived. Maya was in the kitchen making coffee when Marco appeared in the doorway, his expression tight. "Boss wants to see you," he said.
Now.
Her stomach dropped. "What happened?" "Just come with me." She followed him to Dante's office. Inside, Dante stood at his desk with his phone in his hand, his face carved from stone. "What's wrong?" Maya asked. Dante turned the phone toward her. On the screen was a photo of her leaving the Plaza Hotel the night Luca collapsed. The angle was from above, security footage probably. Beneath the image was a single line of text. "She knows. Make her tell." Maya's blood went cold. "Who sent this?" "I don't know yet." Dante's voice was deadly calm. "But they're watching you. They've been watching you since that night." "What do they want?" "Information. About Luca's condition. About his vulnerabilities. About how to exploit them." Maya's hands started shaking. "And if I don't give it to them?" Dante's eyes went dark. "Then they'll try to take it by force." The room tilted. Maya gripped the edge of the desk to steady herself. "Hey." Dante was in front of her suddenly, his hands on her shoulders, grounding her. "Look at me. Look at me, Maya."
She did.
His eyes were hard, but beneath the hardness was something else. Something protective and fierce. "Nobody touches you," he said quietly. "Nobody gets close. I don't care who they are or what they want. They go through me first." "Dante." "I mean it." His grip tightened. "You're under my protection now. That means something. In my world, that means everything." Maya stared at him, her heart pounding. "You can't fight everyone. Watch me." And God help her. She believed him. The threat didn't come from outside. It came from within. Maya was reviewing Luca's medication schedule when she heard the shouting. Dante's voice, sharp and cold, cutting through the penthouse like a blade. Then another voice, older, rougher, speaking rapid Italian. She found them in Dante's office. A man in an expensive suit stood across from Dante, his face red with fury. Gray hair, thick build, a scar that ran from his temple to his jaw. "Reckless, idiotic decision," the man was saying. "Bringing her here? Making her family? You've exposed us all. Careful, Sal." Dante's voice was deadly quiet. "You're talking about someone under my protection." "Protection?" Sal spat. "She's a liability. A witness to your son's weakness. Every family in the city now knows." "Knows what?" Dante stepped forward. "That my son is human? That he has a medical condition? That he's vulnerable." Sal slammed his hand on the desk. "And you made it worse by keeping some random girl around. What happens when someone grabs her? When they use her to get to Luca? To get to you?" Maya's stomach twisted. She should leave. This wasn't her conversation. But her feet wouldn't move. "Nobody's grabbing her," Dante said. "Because I won't let them." "You think you're invincible?" Sal's laugh was harsh. "You think your reputation is enough? The Rossi family is already moving. They know about the girl. They know about Luca's episode. They're positioning themselves to let them try." Dante's voice dropped to something dangerous. "Anyone who touches her, anyone who even looks at her wrong, I'll bury them myself." Sal stared at him. "You're in love with her." The room went silent. Maya's breath caught. "Get out," Dante said softly. "Dante."
"Get out."
Sal's eyes flicked to the doorway where Maya stood. His expression twisted into something ugly. "She'll get you killed. Both of you." Then he left, brushing past Maya without a word. Maya stood frozen, her heart hammering. Dante remained at his desk, hands braced against the wood, his shoulders tight. "How much did you hear?" he asked without turning. "Enough." Her voice was barely there. "Is it true? Is the Rossi family planning something?" "Yes." Dante finally looked at her. "But they've been planning something for months. This isn't about you." "Sal seems to think it is." Sal's old school. He thinks women are weakness. He's wrong. Maya crossed her arms. Am I a weakness? Dante moved around the desk, stopping a few feet from her. You're the opposite of weakness. Then what am I? He held her gaze. You're the reason I'm not becoming the monster everyone thinks I am. The confession hit her like a physical blow. Dante. I know what I do, Maya. I know what I am. I've made peace with it. His jaw tightened. But when you're here, when Luca laughs at something you said, when I see you studying at the kitchen counter at 2 in the morning because you refuse to give up on your future, he stopped. I remember there's more to life than survival. Maya's throat felt tight. You can't put that on me. I can't be your redemption. I'm not asking you to be. Dante stepped closer. I'm just telling you what you are to me, what you've become. She should back away, should maintain distance, should remember that this was dangerous, that getting close to Dante meant becoming a target, that loving a man like him would only end in pain. But she didn't back away. What did Sal mean? She asked quietly. When he said you're in love with me? Dante's eyes darkened. He meant exactly what it sounded like. And is he right? Silence. Heavy, electric, impossible. Yes, Dante said simply. Maya's breath stuttered. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you stayed when you should have run. I know you see Luca as a person, not a tool. I know you don't flinch when I come home with blood on my hands. His voice dropped. I know that when you smile at me like I'm worth something, I actually believe it. Her chest ached. This is insane. Probably. We can't. I know. It would never work. I know that too. Dante reached up, his hand cupping her jaw. Gentle, careful, like she was something precious. But that doesn't change what I feel. Maya closed her eyes, leaning into his touch despite every instinct screaming at her to run. I'm scared. Good. Fear keeps you alive. I'm scared of this, she clarified, opening her eyes.
Of you.
Of what happens if I let myself. Then don't. Dante's thumb brushed her cheekbone. Walk away.
Right now.
I'll make sure you're safe, that you're set up somewhere new, that nobody can find you. You can finish school.
Have a normal life.
Forget all of this. And Luca? I'll take care of him. And you? His smile was sad. I'll be fine. I always am. Maya stared at him, at the exhaustion in his eyes, at the loneliness he tried to hide, at the man beneath the monster. I don't want to walk away, she whispered. Maya. I don't want to walk away, she repeated, stronger now. From Luca.
From you. From this.
You don't know what you're saying. Yes, I do. She reached up, covering his hand with hers. I'm saying I'm staying. Not because you're paying me. Not because I'm trapped. Because I want to. Dante's control finally shattered. He pulled her against him, his mouth finding hers in a kiss that was desperate and fierce and full of everything he couldn't say. Maya kissed him back, her hands fisting in his shirt, her body pressed against his like she could anchor him to something real. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Dante rested his forehead against hers. If you stay, he murmured, there's no going back. You'll be mine. Completely. And I'll be yours. Which means anyone who wants to hurt me will come for you first. Then we make sure they can't, Maya said. His laugh was rough. You sound like me. Maybe that's not a bad thing. Dante pulled back just enough to look at her. You're not afraid? I'm terrified. But I'm not running. Maya's voice steadied. Not from this. Not from you. Something in his expression broke open. Relief, hope, something dangerously close to love. Okay, he breathed. Okay. The Rossi family made their move 3 days later. Maya was walking back from the campus library, Marco trailing 10 feet behind her, when the black van pulled up. 2 men jumped out. One grabbed Maya, the other went for Marco. Marco went down hard, a crack to the skull with something metal. Maya screamed, fighting against the arms dragging her toward the van. She kicked, clawed, bit down hard on the hand covering her mouth. Fucking bitch. The man's grip loosened just enough. Maya twisted free, running. Someone caught her from behind, slammed her against the van. Her vision blurred, pain exploding through her skull. Dante's little pet, a voice hissed in her ear. Let's see how much he'll pay to get you back. Then everything went dark. Maya woke to the smell of mildew and motor oil. Her head pounded. Her wrists were bound behind her back, zip ties cutting into her skin. She was in a warehouse, abandoned, judging by the broken windows and graffiti-covered walls. Across from her, a man sat in a folding chair. Mid-50s, expensive suit, gold rings on his fingers. He smiled when he saw her eyes open. There she is, he said. Welcome back, Miss Rodriguez. Maya's mouth was dry. Who are you? Antonio Rossi. You've probably heard of me. She had. Dante had mentioned the Rossi family, rivals, dangerous, willing to cross lines others wouldn't. What do you want? She asked. Information. Antonio leaned forward. About Luca Castellano. His medical condition. His routines. His vulnerabilities. I'm not telling you anything. Antonio's smile widened. That's what they all say at first. He nodded to someone behind her. Footsteps. Then pain. A fist to her kidney that stole her breath. Maya gasped, doubling over as much as the chair allowed. Let's try again, Antonio said calmly. Luca's condition. What triggers it? What makes it worse? Maya's vision blurred. Go to hell. Another blow. This time to her ribs. She heard something crack. You're tougher than you look, Antonio observed. But everyone breaks eventually. Dante got the call an hour after Maya was taken. A photo of her, bruised, bound, terrified, and a set of demands. $5 million. Luca's complete medical file. Access to Castellano shipping routes. The message was clear. Give us what we want, or we send her back in pieces. Dante stared at the photo for exactly 3 seconds. Then he made a phone call. Gather everyone, he said quietly. Every man we have. I want the Rossi family's locations, their operations, their safe houses. I want everything. Boss, Marco said from the doorway, a bandage wrapped around his head. I'm sorry. I should have. Not now. Dante's voice was ice. Right now, you're going to help me get her back. Within an hour, Dante had assembled 20 men. They hit 3 Rossi locations simultaneously, a social club in Queens, a warehouse in Brooklyn, a penthouse in Midtown. The social club yielded nothing but terrified soldiers who gave up Antonio's location after 30 seconds of interrogation. The warehouse in Red Hook. 3rd floor. 12 men guarding her. Dante didn't hesitate. Maya had lost track of time. Her face was swollen, her ribs screaming with every breath. Antonio had grown impatient, his questions sharper, his methods more brutal. Last chance, he said, pressing a knife to her throat. Tell me what I want to know, or... The warehouse door exploded inward. Gunfire erupted. Antonio's men scrambled for weapons. Maya threw herself sideways, her chair toppling over, trying to make herself small. Through the chaos, she saw him. Dante moved like violence personified. Precise, efficient, lethal. 2 men went down before they could raise their guns. A 3rd tried to grab Maya as a shield. Dante put a bullet through his shoulder before he could touch her. In 90 seconds, it was over. Antonio's men were dead or fleeing. Antonio himself was on his knees, Dante's gun pressed to the back of his skull. Please, Antonio gasped. Please, I was just what? Dante's voice was empty of emotion. Just trying to hurt what's mine? I didn't touch her. I swear, Dante looked at Maya. At her swollen face. Her split lip. The blood on her shirt. You're right, Dante said softly. You didn't touch her. He pulled the trigger. Antonio's body slumped forward. Dante stepped over it like it was debris, holstering his gun as he knelt beside Maya. Hey, he said gently, his hands working the zip ties. I've got you. You're safe now. Maya's breath hitched. Dante. Don't talk. Save your strength. He lifted her carefully, cradling her against his chest. I'm taking you home. Dr. Salazar set her ribs, stitched the cut above her eyebrow, gave her something for the pain. Maya drifted in and out, aware of Dante's presence beside her bed, his hand wrapped around hers. When she finally woke fully, it was dark. Lucas sat in the chair beside her bed, his eyes red. "You're awake," he breathed. "Thank God." Maya tried to smile. It hurt. "Hey, kid. I'm so sorry. This is my fault. If I hadn't..." "Stop." Maya squeezed his hand weakly. "This isn't your fault. None of it. But they took you because of me. Because of what I am. Because I'm weak." "You're not weak." Dante's voice came from the doorway. He looked exhausted, his shirt still stained with blood. Maya's or Antonio's. She couldn't tell. "You're my son. And anyone who thinks that makes you weak doesn't understand what that means." Lucas stared at his father. "What does it mean?" Dante crossed the room, sitting on the edge of Maya's bed. "It means you're loved. Protected. Worth fighting for." He looked at Maya. "Both of you." Maya's eyes stung. "You killed him." "Yes." "You didn't have to." "Yes, I did." Dante's voice was firm. "He hurt you. He tried to use you. He would have killed you when he was done." His jaw tightened. "I don't negotiate with people like that. I end them." "Dad," Lucas said quietly.
The Rossi family.
"Won't they?" "The Rossi family doesn't exist anymore," Dante said. "Not after tonight. Their operations are shut down. Their men are scattered. Their legacy is dust."
He looked at his son.
"No one threatens my family and lives." Maya watched them. Father and son. Both trying so hard to protect each other. Both terrified of losing what little they had. "Come here," she said to Luca. He moved closer. Maya reached up, wincing through the pain, and pulled him into a careful hug. "You listen to me," she murmured. "You're not responsible for other people's evil. You're not weak for having a medical condition. And you're sure as hell not alone. You have your dad. You have me. We're family now. Understand?" Luca's breath hitched. "Yeah," he whispered. "Yeah, I understand." When he pulled back, Dante was watching them with something raw in his expression. "You should rest," he told Maya. "So should you." "I will. After I make sure the building's secure."
Dante.
Maya caught his hand.
"Stay.
"Please." He hesitated, then nodded. Lucas slipped out quietly, closing the door behind him. Dante stretched out beside Maya on the bed, careful not to jostle her injuries. She curled into his side, her head on his chest, listening to his heartbeat. "I love you," she said quietly. "I know it's insane. I know it's too fast. But I do." Dante's arm tightened around her. "I love you too. More than I thought I could love anything." "What happens now?"
Now.
Dante pressed a kiss to her hair. "Now we heal. We rebuild. We become the family we were always supposed to be. And your world, the danger, will always be there. But so will I. So will Luca. So will everyone who cares about you." He pulled back just enough to look at her. "You're not alone anymore, Maya. You never will be again." She believed him. Against all logic, against everything she'd been taught about men like Dante Castellano, she believed him. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay." 6 months later, Maya stood in the kitchen of the penthouse, coffee in hand, watching the sunrise paint the city gold. Behind her, she heard footsteps. "Morning," Lucas said, grabbing juice from the fridge. His color was good. His last cardiology appointment had been positive, the new medication was working, his heart rhythm stable. "Morning, kid. Sleep okay?" "Yeah. You?" "Better than I have in months." Dante appeared in the doorway, dressed for work. He crossed the kitchen, kissed Maya's temple, squeezed Lucas' shoulder. "I'll be back by 7, he said. "Dinner at 8? "Sounds good," Maya said. "I'll cook." "You don't have to." "I want to." She smiled. "Besides, Luca's helping. Right?" Luca groaned. "Do I have to?" "Yes," both adults said in unison. Luca laughed, and the sound filled the kitchen with warmth. After Dante left, Luca turned to Maya. You're happy here, right? Maya looked at him. At this boy who'd become her family. At the life she'd built from chaos. Yeah, she said honestly. I really am. Good. Luca grinned. Because Dad's planning to propose. He showed me the ring last week. Maya's heart stopped. What? You didn't hear it from me. Luca was already backing toward his room. Just act surprised when it happens. He disappeared, leaving Maya standing in the kitchen, her coffee forgotten, her heart full to bursting. That night, Dante did propose. On the rooftop of the penthouse, with Luca hiding behind a planter trying not to giggle, with the city spread out beneath them like a promise. Maya said yes before he even finished asking. And for the first time in her life, she knew exactly where she belonged. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you love this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.